I'm going to be playing Minecraft while I talk to you. And you will watch me play Minecraft while I talk to you. I'm going to set this iPad of mine up where you can watch me play Minecraft. Just trying to figure out where I want to put it. Nope, not right there. I'll just set it up in my bed then, I guess. Okay, there it is. Now you can watch me play Minecraft. I wonder if I can zoom in so you can see me play Minecraft better. I guess I can. I'm gonna go get my medicines that I take to sleep. And those medicines will go for my system while I play Minecraft to talk to you guys for a little bit. I was going to do a video earlier, but I had a lot of things on my mind that I had to do earlier today. My head's been hurting me lately. I've been having mood swings, depression, and fatigue. Usually don't get depressed. What the fuck is wrong with that shit? And they've been harassing me, keep on saying shit to me for the V2Ks back home with me. I want to tell you all this whenever I get myself situated in my bed, play Minecraft, I want to talk to you all. They're telling me that I'm a villain. I was trying to find somebody on Facebook today that I can talk to in depth about what I'm going through, but everybody wasn't on today. I guess is because, oh wait a minute, it's December 2nd, not December the 1st. That's stupid. I'm going to change the damn title of my live video that I'm making right now. So we did that. That's stupid. I'm taking my medicine right now, and that's why I'm not talking. Taking it with juice. I love juice so much. My three favorite drinks to drink is juice, tea, and coffee. But I sometimes drink pop. It has to be a particular type of pop because they put aspartame in pop, too much sugar, and also sometimes pop just makes me fucking gag. It's kind of like chemical bullshit. My brother was home today, and I thought he was going to be working 2 days in a row with my mom. And that's also another reason why I didn't make a video for you all today earlier. um, Trying to decide whether or not I'm going to be going in creative or survival. I guess creative. Not only will I be playing Minecraft while I talk to you, I'm going to be on YouTube talking to you or showing you some other things. My mind hackers, what they did for the V2K and this effect telepathy today, they told me I'm not a person, I don't have human rights. They told me I don't have the right to protect myself. This is the kind of shit they tell me. They tell me I think like a droid as well. Or should they would just go fuck themselves. Every time I play Minecraft, they tell me that I'm a selfish person or that I'm lazy playing Minecraft whenever there isn't a lot of other things I can do, because usually the things I do that are more productive than playing this damn video game are outside, and it's winter time right now and I can't go outside. There ain't even mushrooms out there for me to collect. It snowed today, for fuck's sakes. And I was outside in the snow burying my mushrooms and other stuff that was food scraps to give to my mushrooms in order for my mushrooms to grow this spring. And I was busy outside trying to move around more in order for me to lose weight, and that did not work out the way I wanted it to work out. I didn't lose weight at all. At all. And I did quite a bit outside. Picked some trash up, picked some sticks up to put in my mushroom pile, where the mushrooms or mycelium and stuff eats the wood. And the wood makes them grow. And I went outside and I was picking up trash as well. Not too much trash, but a little bit of it. Um, and then after I was done picking the sticks up, I was realizing that I was really bored and I didn't know what else that I needed to do outside today. I was trying to come up with things to do. I was going to go and do some pull-ups with tree branches from a maple tree. No, wait, is that a maple tree? Yeah, this was a maple tree. But I decided not to do so because I was saying the maple tree is having to deal with the fucking cold weather. And I don't want this maple tree to get destroyed because I am using it as a gym equipment. Because I could use it to grow mushrooms one day. Hopefully it doesn't die before it could be used for good mushroom growing. And also I could use it for maple syrup, but I don't know if that's the kind of maple tree that makes great maple syrup. I never seen people make maple syrup out of the maple trees that are around my house. That makes me kind of skeptical. Believe it or not, I can make maple syrup out of the maple tree. And I decided that I was going to go inside because I was also having my doubts about actually losing weight. Trying to find some other shit to go and do outside. And right now, I don't even enjoy playing Minecraft anymore. I used to enjoy playing this game. I got really addicted to it. Uh, I have Aldohina now because they've tortured me to the point with this B2K, suspect telepathy, remote neural monitoring, manipulation, advanced syndrome shit. These heterodyning that I don't even enjoy playing Minecraft. I don't even fucking enjoy playing my favorite video game. Not only do I don't enjoy doing that, I don't enjoy fantasizing about having sex with men. I don't. That I don't either. Hardly anything gives me pleasure in life. And it's what this woman, uh, fuck, forgot her name. I'm gonna go to YouTube right now. And maybe that will help me, remember her name and other stuff. Yes, this, Park Rose permaculture woman right here.
It's a shame your friend can't be
She talks about stuff that Christians do, but my mind hackers, perps gang stalkers also do it to me.
Earlier,
This woman, who I don't agree with completely, because she doesn't understand that Tylenol does cause autism, that's not stupidity. It does cause autism, and there's even warnings on the bottle and stuff that you can get liver disease and liver issues if you take too much of it. And one of my friends, Tara Gavetti Potter, she told me that I was close to getting into a hospital scenario because I took Tylenol and aspirin in the same day. And that Tylenol and aspirin, when they fuse together, they cause major bodily function harm. And that's true. That's fucking true. That does cause bodily harm. I have to take, for both weight loss and detoxing my body for pain relievers, I have to take all kinds of liver detoxification and kidney, intestine detoxification stuff. I take milk thistle. I also eat plenty of fruits and vegetables because that helps it, and I drink a lot of fluids because that gets shit out of my system that shouldn't stay in there. A whole lot of other stuff. I even bought something I saw because it was on sale. It's called Liver Detox supplements at Kroger's, and I also been taking them as well. I have to take all these fucking medications for all kinds of fucking purposes. So many freaking things that I have to take for all kinds of stuff. Sleep, anxiety, pain relief, and I have to detoxify it with other supplements to get the side effects in the interactions out of my system. And on top of that, I have to go outside and be in an hour in extreme heat in the summer to extreme coldness in the wintertime, literally walking outside and doing exercises in the snow or 100-degree summer weather with sweat drenched from my body like I'm a rain cloud and feeling my blood pump and pump and pump up my head just so where I can be healthy. It's horrible. But this Park Rose permaculture woman, she talks about how Christians and the alt-right, the far right, are trying to force their and impose their moral compass, their morality on others. And she talks about the alt-right, far-right pipelines. And I think that us target individuals, the target individual program itself is an alt-right, far-right program. And that these are neo-Nazi Zionists who want to enforce their Judeo-Christian, white Judeo-Christian supremacy values and religions on us. That is what I think is happening. Because they tell me a lot of shit that Christians would only tell a person. Or Jews, or even Muslims would tell a person. They told me that women shouldn't be sexually liberated, that people shouldn't have birth control, contraceptives. They tell me every time I fantasize about having sex with a military man, I'd wear my condom. They're pretending to be the man that I'm pretending to have sex with in my head, and I know he's not real. He's not a fucking real person. I tell the target individuals, this person in my head is not a real person that I pretend to have sex with. I know the difference between reality and fiction. Okay? I watch Star Trek and Star Wars. Mostly Star Trek, because Star Wars is a little too dogmatic and Looney Toony to watch sometimes. And also, I don't like Star Wars because the Sith and Jedi don't negotiate and compromise with each other like the Federation does with other aliens. And I think that you should negotiate and compromise with somebody you dislike than just demonizing and villainizing them and just want to fucking kill them and go out there and kill them. That's what the Sith and Jedi do to each other. They just want to kill each other. They don't want to talk it out. Don't want to have a great, Socratic, Platonic, intellectual discussions about anything. That's what I hate about fucking Star Wars. There is no intellectualism in Star Wars. It's all, let's go and kill them. Us versus them mindset. I don't like that mindset because it's kind of stupid and it's not very realistic at all. In reality, people have to talk to other people. They have to work with other people that they want to share dinner with in order for them to do their responsibilities in life and their duties to their country. And I am sick and tired of these people in my head telling me shit to my face that women and men shouldn't practice birth control, that sex is only for biological reproduction when Wilhelm Reich, the man who discovered orgone or rediscovered orgone technology, because orgone technology has always been practiced by human beings. The Buddhist monks practiced orgone energy with their kung fu in their statues and rock grids and stuff. They called the orgone chi. Then the European pagans and even some Christians called it ether, and they did a lot of similar things the Buddhist monks did, except without the kung fu shit. These people in ancient times, they did a lot of shit with this orgone energy. the Tataria people, that that kingdom called Tataria, they used orgone energy, and they used orgone energy with their churches. Their churches were like orgone pyramids. That's what it is. Uh, the churches would call orgone energy the Holy Spirit. That's what I think that they're talking about with this Holy Spirit shit, and God will be with you stuff. I think they're talking about the orgone energy, the life force energy that creates us all. I don't think they're talking about a man who created us all. I think that they are using that man, the Holy Spirit or the King or God, as like a code word for this energy that Wilhelm Reich and Tesla call scalar energy or orgone energy. That it's not actually a fucking man going in your body that created us all. It's an energy that's going in your body. But it's almost as powerful, like if it were to be a big king, a big manly almighty God. Because it's how powerful it is. Uh, these people, now that I have put two and two together and sit back and look at the bigger picture, these people in my head have always put fucking shit in my head that a Christian, these people that this woman talks about, will put in people's heads that they had synthetic telepathy, remote neuromonitoring manipulation, EEG heterodyning, Havana syndrome inducing, B2K inducing technology. I'm going to go use the restroom. I'm going to let you hear one of her videos about stuff. Oh, God, no. That one would be good. They just put a negative thought in my head about this person.
We are trying really hard to get you Reese's peanut butter cups, but there is only so much we can do here. You're gonna have to meet us halfway. Well, the whole way, actually. And don't stop there. Try caramel big cup.
When I talk about animal rights folks being white supremacists, when I talk about the veganism to alt-right pipeline, you have to understand that all of that is absolutely going to tie into and harness eugenics. There is no alt-right, there is no fascist movement that is not coupled
That's a
with
term you guys need to look up
It's
in
actually quite shocking
eugenics.
how many people on the political left are really prone to eugenicist thinking. I know Imani Crutches and Spice talks about this a lot. Lots of y'all don't realize how suffused a lot of your beliefs are with eugenics. I know a lot of people who are animal rights activists, who are vegan activists, think that they are on the political left. They think that they're like real fucking woke. And then you get to the core of it, you get them talking about what they believe, and the eugenics is just like so overt. The eugenics is just like, you know, it's right barely underneath the surface, and let them talk for a second and it bubbles over. Do not confine animals, period. Close every zoo, aquarium, etc. Empty the cages. Secure thousands of square miles where humans never go, ever. 10 million people as a global population. And this person goes on to talk about population control. That's fucking eugenics. What's your plan to get from 8 billion people to 10 million? What's your plan? What's your plan that's not fucking eugenics? Jesus Christ. I know I've talked about how the population bomb, the overpopulation myth, is a eugenicist myth. Antinatalism is eugenics. Childism is eugenics. I used to call myself an environmentalist. I'm loath to do that anymore because there is such a strong bent for eugenics in environmentalism. Also, again, your white supremacy is really fucking showing atoms and sky. Secure thousands of square miles where humans never go. This is a great chance. Maybe I'll do a whole series on how conservationism is also white supremacy, is also eugenics. All of these things we think of as being noble and good and politically on the left makes us really uncomfortable. People get really dysregulated when you talk about the fact that they're often steeped in white supremacy. They are alt-right pipelines. The left is not immune to racism. The left is not immune to eugenics. The left is not immune to ableism. The left is not immune to childism. Give these folks 2 seconds and they'll show you their whole ass. I know we have a long history of eugenics in this country. There's a long history of eugenics in Europe as well. Just because you're on the political left does not mean that you have unpacked that, deconstructed from it, and let it go. Far too many causes and ideologies that people associate with the political left are still absolutely chock fucking full of eugenics and white supremacy. No way, that absolutely is white supremacy for you to tell indigenous people what kinds of food they can and cannot consume. It's not simply about caring for animals. It's your choice to moralize food in a certain way and then to put your beliefs about food on other people, to superimpose your choices, your restrictions onto other people, to tell people they cannot eat their traditional foods, they cannot practice their traditional culture is white supremacy. Alt-right views come from a place of hatred. When you choose to restrict food, when you choose to limit what kinds of food other people can eat, when you place moral judgment and call some foods evil, some foods good, some foods clean, and some foods dirty, that will 100% of the time become an alt-right pipeline. That will 100% of the time become something.
Park Rose Permaculture, if you and your other subscribers besides me are watching this video of mine, the alt-right pipeline are also moralizing sex, and they say it's not alright for women and men just to have sex. With it, they want to make it seem like sex needs to be used for procreation, and that men and women cannot just have sex for psychological, mental, and emotional well-being, for hormonal release, like dopamine and serotonin release. Okay? These fucking assholes that are in my heads with the V2K, synthetic telepathy, remote neural monitoring manipulation technology, what is called psychotronic technology. These fucking Christians, Jews, Judeo-Christian, Zionist, Nazi lunatics in my head, these white supremacist lunatics that believe that white people, both white Jews and non-Jews, are superior to all other people, especially white men are more superior than women, both black women, white women, of all women. They say that women and men do not have the right to have sex without procreating because it's demonic, it's parasitic, predatory, and evil, and that's something that only worms would do, or that kind of stuff. They're saying that I'm being a succubus thinking about having sex with a man without procreation, and they tell me I'm being a succubus because I follow Wilhelm Reich's scientist and a psychologist, mental and psychological health practices. His way of practicing psychology. Wilhelm Reich believed that the lack of sex can lead to psychological, mental, and emotional disorders within the person's brain and body because they're not getting the amount of emotions, hormones, chemicals in their body released that they need released to be stable and highly functional people if they don't think about sex or have sex. And he discovered a type of energy that creates life called orgone energy that he also discovered that if people don't have sex, don't think about sex, and don't work out, move their bodies, that there isn't enough of the release and equilibrium, balance of this orgone energy within the person's body, which causes the person to suffer not only mental and psychological issues, but can also get cancer, diabetes, they're very treacherous diseases. And Wilhelm Reich basically said if you don't have sex, don't think about sex, and you don't have sex with yourself, which is exercising like yoga, what the yogis in India do. If you don't move your body around, if it's with another person, in your head with another person, or by yourself, if you don't move your brain cells around and think about sex and think about moving and stuff, if you don't actually have sex and you don't move around a lot, you're going to get sick and probably even die. This is what this man said. Um, and these people that are in my head, the perps, gang stalkers with the V2Ks, effect, telepathy, or neuromonitoring manipulation, they're telling me that you shouldn't have sex for the reasons Willem Reich says, because that's parasitic and predatory, and only Nephilim, human extraterrestrial bloodlines, or mutated human bloodlines that have incubus and succubus powers, do that shit. They're demonizing me and calling me a fucking succubus. And also make me think that I was having sex with an incubus once for wanting to think about having sex and masturbating to certain types of men. They also hate the certain types of men that I am very attracted to and I respect and love very much. And that's rebellious American men who are true rebels that don't control women and that would care less about controlling anybody and that like to fight for freedom and are very open-minded and have common sense, that kind of stuff. They tell me that the men that I like are demonic, evil men. When how's a good man who wants to fight against tyranny evil? How the fuck is that evil man? Assholes. They're telling me that they hate liberty and freedom. That's what they're basically saying. That people don't have the right to have sex, no matter if it's for whatever reason. They're like trying to make me like not like sex, not like people having sex. They think that sex is forbidden to think about, for me to think about, even forbidden for me. For others like me to think about and shit. Um, they want, they're telling me they want everybody, especially me and especially people like me, to be controlled by a government, and the government controls how we reproduce. Government controls how we have sex. They want that kind of system. They want a totalitarian, authoritarian police state that polices people's bodies and polices how people have sex and how people reproduce. That's evil shit. That's basically where it all comes down to. They want to control how people have sex by telling me that they want to control how I think, how I would like to have sex, and think about sex in general. And they think that I'm being like a vampire, energy vampire, or a succubus by having sex with a man without procreating, just so where I can get my orgone energy, life force energy, and chemical imbalances in my brain that can lead to psychological and mental disorders released for therapy. That Wilhelm Reich said that sex is good therapy for psychological and mental disorders and even for treacherous diseases like cancer. That's what Wilhelm Reich basically did. He cured people by helping them think about sex, helping them get birth control, and other stuff to have sex. Sex liberation. He helped with sexually liberating people with his work. He also used orgone technology where he can use orgone energy with a device instead of with the person's body. Uh, and this orgone energy can be used to cleanse the environment from pollution as well. This technology that he made is called orgonomy. The science of technology is called orgonomy, orgone technology, and there's different types of orgone devices he made. He made an orgone cloud buster, orgone generator, accumulator, among other things such as an orgone box or chamber where a person would go in this chamber made out of wood and a type of metal. And when they went in there and were in there for a long duration of time, it cured their cancer and other diseases. That's what this guy did. He found a cure for cancer, and the cure for cancer was to stabilize and to amplify the frequencies and energies within a person's body, because the energies and the frequencies in a person's body are the ones that ultimately dictate the chemicals, the hormones, the everything in a person's body. Therefore, if you don't have good energy system in your body, just like a computer system, your body is going to crash just like a computer system does. And they're saying that I'm being a fucking succubus in my head, trying to make my system stabilized and functional by thinking about having sex with a man. When, if I had sex with a man, would also stabilize his energy. It would help get his orgone energy and stuff going too. It's not me being a fucking vampire, energy vampire, psychic energy vampire, succubus, and sucking all his energy out of him and not getting some back in return. Having sex, just like the USB charger in a iPad and stuff, downloading and talking on the phone, it takes both ways, penis and vagina. My vagina, my body's giving my orgone energy and even my microbiome to him, the good innocent germs and good fungi on my body, because we all have the microbiome. We all have good viruses called proviruses, bacteria, good bacteria. I think good bacteria are called gram positive, and mold and yeast, fungi on our bodies that protect our bodies from the bad pathogens. And those fungi are part of our DNA in our system, because our body is continually sharing its DNA and resources with these microbes that have a symbiotic relationship with it, making them no different than any organ in our body, and they kind of are an organ of our body. And when a woman has sex with a man, she's sharing this microbiome that's on her body, in her body meaning in her vagina, with a man, and this stuff can be beneficial towards him and revitalize his microbiome as well. And she's sharing her orgone energy, her aura, her chakras, some of their DNA with a man when she has sex with him. Especially if she has sex with him around a period time. Because then she'll give him some blood cells from her menstrual blood. Regardless if she knows it or not, or if there's blood down there or not. Because when a woman is done with her period, there will be a little bit of blood cells that you can't see, because blood cells are as microscopic as germs on her pussy. But when she has sex with a man, that man's going to get a little bit of those blood cells on his penis, thus getting her DNA that's in those blood cells. There's chromosomes in the nucleus of the cell. This also can be the case before she starts her period, right before. Right before her starts her period, she might get a little bit of blood on him because she's just starting it. And a little bit of blood comes out. Sometimes very unnoticeable. And that when a man has sex with her, he's going to get some of that blood cells on him. And men and women who are very sexually active or just have sex in very awkward moments, such as around a period of time, they would never know. He would never know that he got a little bit of that blood on him. Because its blood cells are small. And due to pollution, EMF, radiation, and a lot of stuff that interferes with hormones in a woman's menstrual cycle, women are having irregular menstrual cycles more often nowadays. And women, and I can tell you from my experiences, women nowadays, not all of them can predict when they're about to start the period. My period used to have been 3 to 4 months apart from each other. Nowadays, it's a month or two apart from each other. That is my issues. I think the reason why I have irregular periods is because I'm being hit by direct energy weapons. B2K, remote neuromonitory manipulation, and spectral empathy, which is destroying my hormone systems in my body. Number one. Number two, I think that being forced to take medicine by my mom, psychiatric medicine, because I'm a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, that those psychiatric meds, the side effects was to interfere with my hormone system. I think the side effects of those meds also are to make me masculine and destroy my female emotions, to make me more like a boy, which is probably the reason why my tits are so small. So they basically spay and make masculine women. And these medications have been forced, if you can call them that, I can call them drugs. And they should be illegal fucking drugs. Vraylar, fluvoxamine, Zoloft, Gacerta, Latuda, and some benzodiazepines. I think that they were in my system and trying to make me into a boy. Okay? And not only do I think that they were trying to make me into a boy, but I think these medicines eventually would have turned me into a sociopathic robot, where I don't have emotions at all, and I just think on logic and rational thoughts. Well, I want to tell you something. These doctors, these psychiatrists, and these fucking baby boomer, narcissistic piece of shit baby boomers and millennials that over-medicate and abuse their children, and that are making their children Munchausen syndrome by proxy victims. These people don't know that the Illuminati, cabal, Zionist Jews, the fascist right, the people in control of our governments are using these pharmaceutical companies and their drugs to roboticize and enslave people, and that they're trying to take people's empathy for others out of their system, make them apathetic, and then make them sociopathic, that they will kill others and rape others if the government and some rich and powerful person will just tell them to do it. Okay? Well, I'm going to let you watch the rest of her video.
That fascists, that white supremacists exploit. Restricting, controlling people's food, what they put in their bodies, moralizing food is always an alt-right pipeline. I know that's really uncomfortable for a lot of vegans in particular to hear. I know you thought that your ideology was aligned with the political left. You thought that it was good and pure and not contaminated by people on the right. But there's an awful lot of vegan influencers on the right for a reason. Hitler was a strict vegetarian for a reason. Any kind of food, beliefs, ideology that promotes ED is also going to promote white supremacy, because it's all about hyper control. It's all about controlling other people's bodies. It's all about controlling their thoughts. We do that most easily through food. We superimpose our culture and we limit, erase other people's culture very easily by controlling the kinds of foods that we think they can and should have access to. I know, there's so many things about wellness culture, about good, clean eating and being that we don't want to see as being alt-right pipelines. We want to believe that they are good and virtuous. Guess what, people?
And
Drives us.
these people
Live this game.
are trying to
We're here for one simple reason.
make
We love football.
people
Let's go
selfish,
places.
independent, and not allowing people to have empathy for others in order to help others as well.
A man who works hard, sweats hard. Old Spice Swagger fights sweat. So
On alt-right pipelines, people on the far right, they also think that they're good and virtuous. They also think that they have right beliefs. I know so many of us on the political left don't like to think about how many of our beliefs are functionally an alt-right pipeline, especially when it comes to food, wellness, and environmentalism. People got really mad at me today on YouTube for saying that there is a veganism to alt-right pipeline. It's the same way I say there's a crunchy mom culture to alt-right pipeline. There's an environmentalism to alt-right pipeline. There's a yoga to alt-right pipeline. There's a wellness culture to alt-right pipeline. It's called MAHA. Anything orienting around virtue, goodness, cleanliness, moral purity, especially when it comes to food, what we put in our bodies, how we treat our bodies, the way our bodies look. If we assign value and virtue to any of that, it's automatically going to become an alt-right pipeline. Whether or not you are someone who happens to be sucked down that pipeline, if you are participating in an ideology or a subculture that can be harnessed for the alt-right, it's good to be aware of that. It's good to be aware of how you are vulnerable. Everybody is vulnerable once you step into these spaces. You can think that you're not, but you are. There's a gym bro to alt-right pipeline, a child-free to alt-right pipeline. If we are on the political left and we have any of these beliefs, if we are in any way connected to any of these subcultures, we don't like to hear about how they can and are harnessed and used by folks on the right. We want to believe that these are all our spheres and that they're not contaminated by people on the alt-right, and definitely not that they can facilitate people being funneled to the alt-right. Yep, that makes us really uncomfortable. Earlier today in my comments, somebody said, oh, there's a homeschooling to alt-right pipeline, and I was like, oh yeah, I think they thought because we're unschoolers that I was going to be like, no, that's not true. Of course it's true. Of course it's true. First of all, a lot of homeschoolers start out on the far right, but even in the unschooling community, which is overwhelmingly kind of like secular, leftist, progressive, there is definitely an alt-right pipeline within this group. There are definitely beliefs that operate in this sphere that our family lives in that can funnel people to the alt-right, and we have to be aware of that and not believe that our ideology, our belief, our subculture is so morally pure that it couldn't possibly be contaminated by the alt-right, and it couldn't possibly be used to facilitate the radicalization of other people. Too many of my friends went down the crunchy mom to alt-right pipeline. Too many of my friends went down the unschooler to alt-right pipeline. I have lost friends down the veganism to alt-right pipeline. I've lost friends, way too many friends, down the wellness culture to alt-right pipeline. These things are real and they exist. Just because it makes you uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's not happening. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to sit in your discomfort and to unpack all of this, because realizing that these vulnerabilities exist and then addressing them is a good thing. And also, if I have one more vegan in my comments being like, it's not white supremacy to tell indigenous people what they can and can't eat, it's totally fine for me to be like, your traditional cultural practices and your traditional foods are evil and immoral. Like, fuck off. Of course that's white supremacy. I know you think that you are not racist. Guess what? There's a lot of racism in leftist spaces. You're not immune. If you are telling indigenous people, if you are moralizing the food choices of people from other cultures, if you are trying to superimpose your ideology, your beliefs, your moral judgment about food onto other people, that's fucking white supremacy, babe. That's white supremacy. And you would do well to examine how your ideology is radicalizing you, is normalizing white supremacy, is normalizing alt-right beliefs for you.
Yep. And this is what they're doing to us target individuals. They're trying to force race supremacist ideas and way of living onto people. Okay? They are trying to also force Jewish supremacist Zionist ways of doing things onto people as well. And white Jewish supremacy is white supremacy because the Jews are white people. They're not the original Hebrew Israelites of Israel. And you know why? Because the Hebrew Israelites of Israel look like this. They were not white. They were black.
Story of the lost tribes of Israel, and we're very happy to have him back in the studio. Hello, and good to see you.
Wonderful to be back.
So we just had a very interesting interview before the commercial break with an anthropologist and a community leader of the Lemba community in Zimbabwe. You talk a lot about this. You do a lot of coursework. So what do you have to say first about the Lemba and what makes them unique as opposed to some of the other groups that are considered lost tribes?
Correct. Lemba are fascinatingly unique because we could trace them directly to the oldest Jewish exile community in the world from Yemen. And the Yemenite Jewish community, when they came back to Israel, they had customs that were preserved for 2,000 years uninterrupted. Even some of their pronunciation of Hebrew letters were unique as far as how the Ashkenazim and Sephardim pronounced their letters, but no one challenged them saying it's unauthentic. It was as authentic it can get. And so when you see the Lemba all the way down at the bottom of Africa, tracing their roots to the Yemenite Jewish community, building in the same structures and having certain traditions that are the same, and like no one else in South Africa, it shows you the far-reaching scale of these Israelite customs and traditions. And not to mention, obviously, we speak about the genetic Cohen phenomenon amongst the Lemba people, that a large percentage of them have a genetic marker to be from the Kohanim, from the priests of Israel.
Tell us more about your work and the coursework that you're doing, because you are a real advocate for this topic and why it's so important in the times we're living in.
I appreciate it. I think the most important thing is like the if so, so what? So we've established that there are these individuals over here, but the next question is, what do we do about it? Is everyone's supposed to convert and come back to Israel? But if we think that way, there's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity coming from the tribes. And Israel is, smaller than the size of New Jersey. And is it sustainable to think in the way of having to convert and bring back? And if you look at the dilemma, they don't even want to convert. They said, why are we converting to something we're already part of? So it's really important now to bring in the writings of our sages, because we have a consensus for about 3,000 years passed on that everyone agrees on what will happen in the future times when this great awakening happens. And from my perspective, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a religious phenomenon and a conversion and a mass immigration to Israel, but it's going to be some type of change that happens in the world when people unite.
Right.
When we realize.
When we're talking about the Isaiahs and the whole ingathering that we've all these years taken quite literally, it kind of, in the bigger picture, it is part of that process, even in the identifying and recognizing and feeling kinship to the Jewish custom.
Ingathering is a great question, because there is an ingathering, and we're obviously experiencing it now, being in Jerusalem, having this, being in Israel. I live in Jerusalem, having this conversation. But there's a 2,000-year-old argument from the sages of Israel, the Mishnah. Do they return or do they not return? And Rabbi Akiva says they don't return to Israel, or they don't return, and Rabbi Eliezer says they do return. And anytime you see this type of argument, it's really never an argument. We just have to have context for what each one's talking about. So we believe, according to the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, who says they don't return, he means to say geographically. According to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, who says they do return, he means to the consciousness and to the community, and we do unite and lock arms in the future. So there's no contradiction over here. So now we have a huge opportunity to make something out of 100 million people minimally who want to be part of this world peace phenomenon that we've been praying for thousands of years.
So how do we also help educate people that are also looking to connect, but there's comments like, well, you guys are imposters, you're not the real Jewish people, and then you're kind of getting people on the other end of the extreme. So how do we bring it all together that everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, there's a few things. One is, they always say haters are going to hate. So I've kept my line, tunnel vision, and ignored most of the hate the whole entire time. But I have learned to be sensitive to the haters, because a hater sometimes is someone in the schoolyard who's not invited to play with all the other kids, and they feel like they're on the side, which causes psychological.
Kanye West.
Correct. That causes psychological resentment when you're not on the inside of something going on. Whether or not that thing is good or not, you're going to view it as bad because you're not invited into it. So there has to be a responsible way that we create a welcoming way that everyone could at least feel part of something that has nothing to do with conversion or the right of return. And so this is what I try, but it's something I've been working on for 12 years, is basically being able to scale the access of technology and freedom that Israel provides to nations around the world, most specifically into Afghanistan, where you have like 25 million Pashtun, and into Nigeria, where you have 40 million Igbo. These are humans who are saying, we've been under war and corruption for thousands of years. Please, we see what's going on in Israel. Come to us also. Bring us some electricity and clean water systems and some governance structure. And here we are in Israel, and the whole world's looking at us for this light and this help. And we're fighting each other on these minute things and honking at each other in traffic.
Yeah.
So when the Jewish people wake up and realize the redemption's knocking at our doorstep, I think we'll have our own spiritual revival also. Because what I've seen also, being an educator in Reform schools and conservative schools and the Orthodox and the ultra-Orthodox and the Hasidim and to Christians in all the world, everyone gets a spiritual feeling from this concept of the tribes waking up and uniting. It speaks to everyone, because I think this is what we've been waiting for.
Which is the Messianic era that everybody is talking about, even with the bad stuff happening as well.
So when we synchronize with the times and what's actually going on, and we leave the clouded vision of our own lives and our own ego, I think we'll just get this natural spiritual influx that the prophecies are coming true.
In front of our very eyes. Rabbi Harry, thank you very much as always.
Yes, sir.
And you see, Palestinians and people in the Middle East with the dark skin, the swarthy complexion, are in fact real Jews. And I'm going to show you this one. Thought I was going to play a Minecraft video, but I winded up not making it and playing Minecraft.
The Ashkenazi Jews, they are the imposters that the Bible talks about.
There was this mass conversion in the 8th century.
That would mean that they're not Semitic.
There's this viral theory claiming that Ashkenazi Jews like Gal Gadot, Bibi Netanyahu, or even your favorite comedians aren't actually descendants from ancient Israelites, but rather they come from this medieval empire called Khazaria.
The Khazarians mass converted to Judaism. These people are not Jewish.
The true Semitic people are Palestinians.
If this is true, it flips history upside down, erasing the Jewish people's direct link to ancient Israel, exposing Ashkenazi Jews as imposters, and undermining the very basis of Zionism. But here's the thing, the theory is terribly flawed. If the Khazars really converted in mass, we'd see some remnants or traces, synagogues, Jewish texts, inscriptions, something.
The reason why there isn't anything in Khazaria, the Ashkenazi Jews of Khazaria, is because wars along with them burned the synagogues and stuff in Khazaria in order for them to fake the truly fake being the true Jews. Okay? In Khazaria, along with a lot of other places around that region of the world, there was a lot of wars. That's probably one of the most war-stricken places, is the place between Europe and Asia, where Russia, Ukraine, Khazaria, Finland, and the Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic region is in. Those are places that have had a lot of their ancient monuments and texts destroyed in wars. That, along with the Middle East, are places that have been completely desolated by wars. On Ancient Aliens, there is this city called Mohenjo-Daro in the Middle East. And what happened in Mohenjo-Daro was an Asian nuclear war that destroyed the entire city. And you could tell because there's radioactive debris, radioactive readings around there, and nuclear fused glassy rocks. That's also what the Libya glass is. Libya glass isn't from outer space, and it's not glass at all. It is rocks that have been turned to glass by ancient nuclear weapons in the past, that evil extraterrestrials and good extraterrestrials were fighting each other for the fate of our species and our planet. This is also depicted in the Mahabharata, when Indra, Ashura, and Shiva, the Hindu gods, were fighting each other. And then Shiva, during the fight, the war, that Oppenheimer, the man who invented the nuclear weapons, the atomic bomb, he quoted Shiva from the Mahabharata, and Shiva said, "I am death, the destroyer of worlds." Okay? And the Jews, what these fake Jews that are reptilian human hybrids, Alpha Draconian human hybrids, Zionists, Ashkenazi, Khazarians, do is that they destroy entire countries because they're descended from evil extraterrestrials. And the evil extraterrestrials called the Alpha Draconians, Grey Aliens, Marduk, Anunnaki, Elohim, created them to be proxies and Trojan horses to better ensure that humanity will be dominated and forever enslaved and dominated by the evil extraterrestrials called the Elohim. Gods that Cliff High talks about. And that are the Anunnaki that Zechariah Ascension talks about. They go around, these fucking human reptilian hybrid assholes, who are also human gray alien and human Anunnaki Elohim hybrid assholes. They go around destroying entire countries and then claiming and pretending to be them in order to get privileges, entitlements, basically special predispositions in society that they can use to get power over society in order to destroy human society, regress it, and degrade humanity in order to keep human consciousness and capabilities down in order for human beings to be continuously enslaved and enthralled by the Illuminati's, cabals, evil extraterrestrial overlords called the Elohim, Anunnaki, Alpha Draconian, Grey Aliens. And they worship called the predatory, parasitic, artificial intelligence, or black goo that Alfred Weber, Harold Kautzville talks about. That's what's going on. And they don't want human beings having freedom. They don't want us having pleasure. There's always has to be something against human beings having sex and human beings eating good food. Klaus Schwab says that we don't even have the fucking right to eat. He said that food isn't a human right. Well, fuck him. Wish I could starve him to death. This guy talked about it. Trying to find what this guy has said. I think he made a short video of it.
Give yourself permission to be weird. You deserve it. You're worth it. Give yourself permission to be authentic. No more waiting around. While this amazing country known as America and the rest of the world goes to hell,
Well, this guy said that that these people that are in the government are not Satanists, Luciferians, pagans, and atheists. I'm a Luciferian pagan like Thomas Sheridan is. He said that Klaus Schwab said that human beings don't have the right to eat, and that's evil. Human beings have the right to eat. They have the right to do whatever they need to in order to survive. That all that should be human rights. The right to eat, the right to have sex with the person you love as long as it's a consensual relationship, the right to sleep, drink, the right to health care, education, all that should be right. That all should be a human right. And this guy called Klaus Schwab, he's a fucking Jew. He even looks like one. Because only Jews would think that human beings don't have right to do what they need to do in order to live. They call us Goyim, Gentiles, for a reason because they consider us cattle. The Illuminati cabal that these conspiracy theorist nut jobs talk about are not Satanists, they are Zionist Jews and Christians. They are elitist Christians and Jews that are sacrificing babies, raping people, and committing genocide for their evil overlord God called Jehovah, Yahweh, El, Adonai. Okay? That's the evil God that is running our world right now. Not Satan, not Lucifer, none of that shit. The evil God ruling our world, the evil symbol ruling our world, is the God of the Bible. The God of the Jews. Which is the God of the Illuminati cabal, who is called Marduk Enlil by the Sumerians and Babylonians. He's called Yahweh the Demiurge in Gnosticism. And he goes by the name Saturn in Rome. And in the Greek religion, he's called Zeus. And I think he's even Odin in Norse mythology. I don't know why, because Odin kind of has a Saturn-like characteristics, because Odin is a dark-sided sky father god, just like Saturn is. But I don't know if Odin is Saturn or not, but they do have a little bit of similarities to them. But Odin doesn't kill and eat his children like Saturn does, so I guess Odin is not Saturn. Or else there would be something in Norse mythology about Odin killing, eating, or enslaving his children, doing very horrible stuff that Saturn does. And when I mean children, I mean us. We are considered Saturn's children, creations. And Saturn, in Roman mythology, he kills and eats human beings because human beings are his children, and he feels like he has a divine right as the Father God of humanity, especially white people, to kill and eat them, enslave them. He's a human trafficker God. He's a God that does human trafficking. Okay? Because he thinks, and probably did, contribute to the creation of our species and all life on Earth. And he thinks he has the right, because he's an abusive, narcissistic prick father, that he thinks he has the right to enslave, kill, and eat us. Therefore, he feels like he has the divine right to human trafficking, to be a slaver and a genocider and a cannibal. Okay, he's a narcissistic cannibal. This fucking God is. And he goes by the name in Christianity and Judaism, this guy goes by the name Jehovah, Yahweh, Adonai, El. Okay? And he is an evil extraterrestrial that is a multi-dimensional, extraplanar, ultra-terrestrial being that has immortality, but immortality in a way a vampire would have immortality because he gets his immortality by sucking the life force and drinking the blood and enslaving others. He's a predatory, parasitic, narcissistic cannibal. Carnivore. And I would call him a consciousness carnivore because what he eats and feeds off of is consciousness, which is the soul. That's his thing he feeds off of, consciousness. That's his main thing he feeds off of, this evil God. Consciousness is his number one resource he exploits. Okay? Put that in mind. Meaning, when this God makes the Illuminati, aka Cabal, which are Christian Jewish elites, not Satan Lucifer elites. That Mark Passio, that poor Manchurian candidate, because he actually thinks the things that he's saying is true. Natural law does not come from Christianity or Judaism, Mark Passio. It comes from paganism. Thomas Sheridan and a lot of my fellow pagans will tell you, natural law doesn't come from your piece of shit religions that you think is so good, Christianity, Judaism. Natural law is in the realm of paganism than it is any other religion. Paganism is what made natural law, what discovered natural law. Natural law is an invention within the constructs of humanity to better delineate the actual reality of the cosmos. And the pagans called the Hermeticists in Greece, Egypt, and those Asian people, and in those parts of the world, called it the Seven Hermetic Laws. And the Seven Hermetic Laws became natural law because they realized that all these laws that are the Hermetic laws are actually all objective facts in nature, in the cosmos, and that they are such objective facts that any religion, like Christianity, that would go against these seven laws, natural law, would be completely destructive and complete lunacy towards humanity and life on Earth. Okay, Mark Pascal? This is what we pagans observe. This is what Luciferians and what you would call Satanists observe. But the thing is about Satanism and atheism, or passive, because you're right on this, is that they don't believe that there's an afterlife. Well, most of them do. There's spiritual Satanists that do believe in an afterlife and believe that Satan is the God that created everything. They just basically call God, creator, universe, Satan. That's what they get. Or they at least call the extraterrestrial entity that is responsible for creating our species and planet Earth Satan. That's what spiritual Satanists believe in. And they observe natural law too. Atheists, but many atheists, most atheists and Satanists don't think that there's an afterlife. They think Satan is more of an archetype and a symbol and worship themselves. Rather than doing what I do, worship myself in the universe, because the universe created me. And I'm co-creating with it. We're a team. So therefore I am worshiping the thing that created me and worshiping myself, because I'm working with the thing that created me. So I'm worshiping the A-team, the elite squad, okay? It's like that. I'm worshiping the A-team, teamwork that makes everything happen. But Christianity is a fucking asshole, hellhole religion from an alternate dimension. that is completely like it's an Euclidean realm or something like that, just real fucking demonic shit. Judaism and Islam also are the same way, because all these religions go against natural law. They go against the divine feminine. They don't worship women as being the avatars, the manifestation of a divine feminine force that created us all. Like the Buddhists with yin and yang, where both men and women have the right to have power, personal empowerment, and responsibility in society. And that means no gender norms. Gender norms don't exist in nature. Tigers out in nature, the female tigers hunt just as much as the male tigers, and the male tigers are only sperm donors and protect the territory. That's all they do. All the other stuff is done by the females. There is no fucking gender norms. And the king of the jungle, the lion, even though he is the one that controls the lion pride, the females actually have more control over the lions than the alpha lion king does. The king lion, he's only there to be a sperm donor and to promote discipline. But when it actually comes down to who gets to make love, mating and stuff like that, it's the lionesses that decide that. Because lionesses can overthrow and just simply run away from the pride if they don't like the alpha male lion, the king. And then black widows, they kill the male spider after they're done mating with him, so that's completely different right there than what we human beings would arrogantly and chauvinistic in a chauvinistic and arrogant way would say our gender norms are. And actually, in nature, it's the woman that has, the female that has more control over things than the male does. Which makes me think that maybe we human beings are so devoid of a conscience and knowing how nature, natural law works, that we are completely inverted to what nature is. Because in nature, it's the woman that the female that has the most power. Black widows and most spiders, the female kills the male after she's done mating. Cats are the same way, except they don't kill their males. They just stay away from them, and the males just go off and do things in the background, out remotely. Some hominid species, even hominid species that we evolved from, or were created by extraterrestrials from, however you look at that situation, about we humans being created by extraterrestrials, using their DNA and the DNA of hominid species like Neanderthals and Erectus, apes, and other stuff like that, gorillas, the female is in charge. A lot of hominid species have gender equality, or the woman's on top. There's only one species that we also come from where the male dominates everything. And there's one species, hominids, that we also come from where a coalition of males run the species instead of an alpha male. And that's why human men work together than fight each other for who's going to be the alpha king on top. Even though this sometimes happens, and that's been the case of Adolf Hitler, Al Capone, and even serial killers. You know, serial killers, they're not really much rulers, they just fucking kill people. So I wouldn't call that rulership. leadership of the species as far as alpha male leadership goes. Because there's no reason why a man should kill everybody, especially an alpha male. People are more useful to a person alive than dead. Okay? It's like computers. Is a computer work done more useful when it's functional and not broken, or when it's dysfunctional and broken? Yeah. I consider men like serial killers and people that just do terrorism. I consider them fucking mutants, abominations of humanity. It's like something just got into their brain and made them fucking inverted enigma, a horrific abomination monster. This is what I'm pissed off about. That we Luciferians, pagans, atheists, and Satanists are being demonized and villainized by the Jewish, Christian, Illuminati, Kabbalah elite. And they're projecting their own shit onto us and gaslighting people to hate us. I also hate Satanists and atheists who don't believe in an afterlife and who don't even believe in extraterrestrials and that extraterrestrials created us, and they don't know that extraterrestrials created us because they're making it harder for us Luciferians and pagans and spiritual Satanists to be taken seriously by society. They're also making it harder for society to wake up and rediscover the truth that human beings are indeed were created by extraterrestrials in the ancient past, and that there's even genetic evidence of this, such as Rh negative and Rh positive, and that there is junk DNA and other DNA that scientists can't figure out where it comes from, because there is no other living organism on Earth that has DNA code similar to, that is the exact same sequence to our junk DNA and other DNA like it in our body. That's because that DNA did not come from Earth. It comes from extraterrestrials. That's our extraterrestrial lineage right there. That's why I hate these fucking atheists and Satanists who don't talk about how we humans were created by extraterrestrials, because we humans, for our own self-awareness and better self-preservation / determination, have to know our origins in order for us to have enough self-awareness for self-preservation and determination. We must, as a species, individually and collectively, know that we come from extraterrestrials. Extraterrestrials created us and most of the life forms on Earth as their little science project to help life exist, just to fucking exist. Basically, is what it is. They're freaking art project. What we and all life on Earth is. An ongoing art project / science project for extraterrestrial beings, both good and evil, that are artists and mad scientists who like to fuck around and create different types of life forms. And we human beings are the cream of the crop of their game of life, basically, game of life. And evil human beings, evil people, the reason why they're evil is because they got the evil DNA, the evil blueprints, biological intelligent design by their evil extraterrestrial ancestors / geneticist creators that created them to be monsters, to be evil pricks. Okay? The reptilian human hybrids that run the world, like Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, George Soros, and Rothschild's Illuminati cabal. The reason why they're so evil is because they have been genetically designed by evil extraterrestrial invaders. In ancient past, their bloodlines, Illuminati bloodlines, were created by these evil extraterrestrials. Genetic manipulation to be evil, to be parasitic and predatory towards human beings and all life on Earth, because they are fucking proxies, Trojan horses for an ancient alien invasion and an ancient alien agenda to eternally and infinitely enslave humanity and all life on Earth. Entire fucking Earth itself. Okay? Then, good extraterrestrials that created the pure-blooded humans that Sergeant Patty Broussard, Tenofos the Religion, Craig Kent, and Carrie Cassidy talks about. These extraterrestrials, you can see them in people that are very good people, like the founding fathers that created our country, United States of America, example, Robin Hood, and the greatest heroes and rebels, and good people in history. And most of us, human beings on Earth, like you and I, who are good people, are the descendants and the genetic creation by these geneticists, benevolent, good extraterrestrials that are our ancestors. Meaning these extraterrestrial beings that created us looked a lot like us. Because they were us. They are our ancestors from outer space. Meaning, if you want to know what a good extraterrestrial is like, a good extraterrestrial will be no different than what you are. Especially since it created what you are. It created you. Created your species. Many good extraterrestrials you'll meet will look like the extraterrestrials from Star Trek. They'll look very human-like. They'll be humanoid. They'll walk upright and everything. They'll speak a language or they'll have telepathic communication. They'll have empathy and they'll even have superpowers like Superman. Super strength. They'll fly with their bodies. They'll have telekinesis and everything like that. And they did genetic engineering with their psionic abilities, meaning they manipulated the DNA with their consciousness with telekinesis to create us. They didn't use us with lab equipment. They actually used their brain to manipulate DNA to create us. Because they can use their brain to create and modify life forms. Because they can use their brain waves, telekinesis, to manipulate DNA itself. Thus turning their brain waves into syringes and lab equipment. We humans used to be able to do this in the ancient past when we had 3-strand DNA and 48 chromosomes that Sergeant Patty Broussard talks about. We also had the ability to remember our past lives. We had lifespans of 15 to 20,000 years. We had telekinesis and telepathy, and we were able to create new life forms with our brainwaves, which would be like spontaneous generation and genetic modification, but on a supernatural level. And we created all kinds of different things with our brainwaves, some of which were accidents and fuck-ups, because we were experimenting and growing as a species to see what we can make, and we wind up making really seriously sick, evil-ass life forms. And the extraterrestrials, they took advantage of this part of our history when we were experimenting as godlike beings making life forms. They took advantage of this by making us fuck up and create human beings with less potential than we do. There was something about what we human beings were doing in these times in human history, human history, that caused us to descend and de-evolve. And I think it has to do with us messing around and tampering with genetics that we shouldn't have tampered with in the ancient past. That we were tampering with brain waves and sound waves to manipulate DNA. Because DNA is an antenna, and DNA acts like a fucking piano. And you can use frequencies like brain waves and sonar sound waves to manipulate bend DNA, and thus you can use them to make and create new different types of life forms and use mutations and shit like that. And I know this because I think I can manipulate my DNA to be similar to different types of animals and plants in my environment. And I am so tolerant to sunlight sensitivity and heat now that I don't have sunlight sensitivity and heat sensitivity anymore. And I'm also have superhuman tolerance and immunity towards cold weather. That I can go out on hot summer days and sunny winter days like it's nothing. And I have also seen in the environment that even plants and animals, but especially plants and mushrooms, have a weird way of just changing in weird ways. That even plants and mushrooms adapt and have all kinds of weird abilities. That I'm starting to see that DNA in life is very much, very malleable, and everything is in flux. Every year in the summertime, it's like there's something different out there. It's always something a little different. And these people in my head, the perp spine hackers doing this to me, they are trying to make me go against my views of reality, which I know are real because I do my research, I do scientific method and stuff. That everything that I know and think that is true is actually true, and sometimes I don't want it to be true because it's disturbing. And you know what? At least I am brave enough to confront the disturbing nature of reality and inconvenient truths. Like carbon being good and carbon dioxide not being a fucking pollution. Al Gore with his inconvenient truth should be called inconvenient lie. Global warming is good, that's why. Global warming drains the planet. The fucking evil Dracula vampire sun hating nutcase. The carbon hating nutcase too. He just doesn't like to burn up. Well, maybe he should fucking burn up the rich pile of shit. I was gonna make this a Minecraft video and it wound up being something else. It's always something else. Every time I say, or almost every time I say I'm gonna do something, it turns to something else. Probably because I'm being mind fucked. And when I'm being mind fucked, I have to talk about something that will be a fuck you to the mind fuck that they're doing to me. And the mind fuck that everybody else is doing to me because they are stressing me out. I'll just say that this video is an update status video for December 2nd. Then that's what I will rename this video. I thought that this guy was going to have transcripts on his YouTube video, but he doesn't. Therefore, why show you his video if I can't even show you the transcript? In order for me to use the transcript to go to the part of the video where he actually said what I told you that this guy said. Maybe I'll play Minecraft a little bit with you guys, where I'm not completely lying to you. Usually right now I'm jamming out to rock and roll music, putting curses on my enemies with the rock and roll music. And they don't like it when I do that either. They get livid about it. And I don't play Minecraft that much, therefore it's not like I am a video game addict grifter, because I'm a victim. I'm not a grifter, I'm a victim. Mind control, no touch torture by criminal factions in the government that are working for evil extraterrestrials and the evil extraterrestrial human hybrids that were set up upon planet Earth in ancient times to keep planet Earth and humanity from advancing to a space-age civilization like in Star Trek. And how does a fucking grifter, a person that doesn't care about the world, know about all that shit? Most grifters, most low-life nobodies who don't care about the world are usually dumb piles of ass who don't say and do very much. I do and say a lot. And sometimes things I say get me put on a fucking list like the target individual list, where they literally fucking torture me by saying bad things to me with V2K, synthetic telepathy, remote neural monitoring, and manipulation / EEG hetero dining technology, and doing Havana syndrome with me to give me headaches, pains, fatigue, and weird ass emotions out of nowhere that don't belong. For example, if I'm not around somebody or something doing something funny, I should not be fucking laughing. Okay? That's my control. If you are not around something that would invoke a certain emotion, like laughing, and you wind up laughing out of nowhere, I feel like you want to laugh or you feel like something's funny, that's odd. That's very fucking odd. That's what us target individuals go through, and that's what people that are too much on the internet all the time go through too. Because they're being mind controlled to feel things that they shouldn't feel, that go against their free will, their soul to feel. People are being brainwashed, literally by their damn computer and their television to feel things that even their religious beliefs and moral code will tell them not to feel. And that's what I've experienced. But I've experienced this with depression, not laughter, and along with love and hate. They're making me love bad things and bad people and hate good things of good people. This is the kind of shit they're doing. It's like a divide and conquer brainwashing on me. That's what I think they're trying to do. And I'm really pissed off about it. They're trying to make me like Christianity and Jews and white supremacy. That's what they're trying to make me want. And they want to make me do that because I've already was a neo-Nazi in my younger years who was a Hitler worshiper, and they're trying to invoke my past self where I was a neo-Nazi, but they want to make me a Christian neo-Nazi or a Jewish Zionist Nazi Jew and hate black people, women, and Palestinians. That's their new fucking gig that they're doing to me nowadays. And I think that they're doing it because they think they can do it because I voted for Donald Trump. And I voted for Donald Trump not because I was a Christian or white supremacist or because Donald Trump is a white guy. I don't even think Donald Trump is attractive because he's a fat, so that's why. I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like fat guys. I hate fat guys. Most of the fat guys I've been around have been assholes. And I think they're assholes because they would rather be eating and being gluttonous than actually put in the time and effort to do things that are good for others. That's what I think. I also don't like fat people in general. Most of my piece of shit family members that think that they're better than me and think I'm crazy are fat piles of shit. And dumb fatsos too. They're dumbasses and fat asses. A person that's a fat person who is a low IQ has no business judging the mental and psychological well-being of others. I had a therapist called Lindsay who was a fat bitch. I was saying, why is a fat person a therapist, a counselor, when usually obesity is caused by mental illness and psychological issues? Therefore, if somebody is obese, it's because they have probably psychological and mental issues. And a person with psychological and mental issues has no business being a psychologist or a therapist at all. I hated going to these fucking people because of psychological and mental issues, which are actually caused by psychological mental abuse by my narcissistic mother who had an alcoholic fetish, because all the men that I was exposed to, including my own dad, was an alcoholic and a drug head. And my mom, she's a fucking pillhead that thinks that pills will save the world. My mom, it's like she read a comic book. And in the comic book, the superhero was called Pill Man or Pill Woman. And that all he had to do to save the day and make the world a better place is to give people pills. Because that's what my mom, who's a nurse and LPN, thinks. Pills will save the world. No, pills do not always save the world. They can destroy people's lives rather than saving them because of the harsh chemicals that are in them and the side effects. And health is not about taking some damn pills. It's about changing your lifestyle and getting rid of what's in your body, in your house, in your environment that's making you psychologically, mentally, physically unwell. Meaning it takes hard work and sacrifice to have good health. You have to sacrifice what's bad in order for you to have what's good. And my mom thinks that you shouldn't have to sacrifice anything, including an alcoholic boyfriend that is abusive and destroys things that mom had. It's not right to keep around bad men. Bad fucking men who abuse and harass your children. That's not right at all. And my mom thought she had the right to do that. We exposed my brother and I to a corrupt, lunatic, abusive boyfriend of hers. That sick in the head kind of shit. For a woman to do that to her children. And one of those men was my father, who I never knew because he was a deadbeat dad. My mom fucking got pregnant by a deadbeat, drug addict, grifter, alcoholic. He was my deadbeat dad who didn't want to pay child support, who didn't want to just be in my life. That's my mom. And I'm not a grifter because I actually want to have a job. And I've always wanted to have a job, but I never was able to get one because of the shit my mom has done to me. Because my mom thinks that I'm abnormal or unusual. When that's just her opinion, it's not true. I got plenty of friends that think I'm a normal person. Not only do they think they're normal, they think I'm above average, above normal. People would be jealous of what I could do. Though I don't want all that shit that they say to go to my head when it comes to them thinking that I'm above average IQ and shit like that. Because it doesn't matter how intelligent a person is. All that matters is they at least know what's good and evil, right and wrong. And also know common sense to not do something dangerous, like drink and drive. Or not wash their hands before they cook and eat because they could get salmonella and E. coli poisoning. Which, you shouldn't have to be a chef or a nurse to know to do that. That's just common sense. Hygiene, right there. And I've been around certain fucking disgusting people that think that only chefs and nurses should care about keeping their hands clean while they make food. And I was saying, I guess this person's going to wind up getting child protective services taking their kids away. Their kids wind up getting sick with salmonella and coli frequently because they don't wash their hands before they cook and clean. There are certain people that won't wash their hands when they start cleaning, and they wind up getting poopy germs and dirt germs everywhere. I'm saying that's sick in the head. That's a demented person right there. Before you clean up, you need to wash your hands first, or wear gloves. That's the number one step you do by doing anything like cooking or cleaning, period. Wash your hands first. That's what I do before I start cooking and cleaning. Unless I'm eating fast food. Which I don't like to eat fast food because it's disgusting. And I don't know if the people that cooked it wash your hands properly. And all because the food smells good doesn't mean there isn't anything in it that can make you sick. I've learned that lesson the hard way sometimes. Right now I'm exploring my Minecraft world because Minecraft updated itself and has caused the world to spawn in and animate differently, causing different types of places that weren't here in my world before. And I'm just seeing what else has changed. Seeing the little generation changes. And also because I just like to explore Minecraft, because I like to explore in general, and since I can go outside because it's winter time and go hike and climb mountains and mushroom forage, I'll just go on Minecraft and do the exact same thing that I would do in real life in Minecraft. And this will be work as a good drill practice for real life exploration. They tell me that I'm a narcissistic Lucifer. Lucifer was never a narcissist. He was the complete opposite to narcissism. He confronted the true narcissist was the God of the Bible, thought he was the Most High God, and was fucking being a damn imposter impersonating the universe itself, because the universe itself is the one true Most High God. And the universe is not a man or a woman either. There's a lot of things in the universe that aren't male or female, like stars, planets, rocks, and spoons. And eating that spoon you eat with is just as much of a god and divine as your genitals are. And that's a good thing, because at least you can keep yourself alive to use those genitals by keeping yourself fed with that spoon. And that's why I hate these fucking religions that think that everything has to be about genitalia, sex, when you have to do more than just sex to live your life. You have to eat good food, need good tools to eat good food, like good cooking equipment, eating equipment, and knowing good hygiene as well. And I was saying to myself, a population that is going through a famine would worship spoons and worship chefs and farmers over all other things besides sex, because they wouldn't be worried about procreating. They would be more worried about getting food on their table and actually being able to eat it. But the reason why we live in a world where sex is everything instead of like eating is everything, and people worship their genitals rather than worshiping spoons, forks, and farmers, is because sexuality is forced on us or forcibly deprived from us by the Jewish Christian elite ruling class. And the Jewish elite ruling class, they don't starve us, but they do control what we eat to make us feel grateful about food and not thinking that food is a problem when it actually is. Food is a problem. They're not only depriving us of sexual liberation and reproductive rights, both as men and women. They are also depriving us of eating the food that we want to eat, too. And they're depriving us the ability just to fucking eat. Meaning, men need to focus more on their bellies rather than their loneliness. They need to think about getting a good food and good diet in their lifestyle than just focusing on having sex with and having relationships with women. Men would be less lonely if they had food that they can talk about and talk to each other while eating. Like at a bar or a man party. Because I'm just sick and tired of men saying that they're lonely and stuff like that. Well, you know what? I'm lonely too, and I'm being forced to be lonely by things other than issues of sex and a woman. I'm lonely because my mom tortures me, and because I'm being tortured by the government that is sending thoughts and voices into my head, and that can read my thoughts because they have telepathic communication abilities. And many of you men that are watching my YouTube video who are in MGTOW and are lonely men, you might actually be targeted individuals like me. You might be a target individual just like me. You look up target individuals because you might be being tortured by your perps, by a person called a perpetrator, gang stalker, a mind hacker, who is putting voices and thoughts in your head that you think is your own, making you feel like you're lonely when you're not lonely, and you actually have plenty of friends, and or a good girlfriend who is actually a good girlfriend and does all the good stuff for you. Meaning your brains are being messed with, and your heart's being messed with. That somebody wants to make you feel miserable when you're not miserable and you shouldn't be miserable. So you need to really think about that. You need to go research target individuals. You need to look up demoralizing warfare, brainwashing, and stuff like that. Because there probably is somebody in your life making you feel lonelier, making you just feel like a piece of shit in general than what you should be feeling and thinking. And they just said some fucking shit to me with a black woman in my head, an image of a black woman. She told me that I had a grudge against Jehovah, which is fucking stupid. I have a grudge more than just Jehovah. I have a grudge against tyrants and evildoers in general. And everybody should have a grudge against Jehovah because he's an evil extraterrestrial overlord, dictator, apex predator, piece of shit. Everybody should hate that fucking guy. And hate isn't a bad thing. We human beings were created by the universe, by Mother Nature to have hatred in order for us to hate what's bad for us, in order to better discipline us and get us to practice self-preservation and determination to get what's bad for us out of our lives. When you hate something that's bad for you, that's not you being bad. It's actually you being good and taking care of something that is bad for you and everybody else. That's self-preservation and determination 101. Nobody should feel bad about hating something or somebody that is bad for them. And that's what all United the States military and all other militaries on Earth do. They get rid of what's bad for them, and that's their enemies, and they do it with guns. And people need to fuck off about being like a hippie and being into world peace and shit. You know, world peace is not a very realistic thing to think about, because we live in a universe with humans and extraterrestrials that are infinite in membership in time and space, and that all the sentient intelligent life, both human and non-human, terrestrial and extraterrestrial, have free will, and they all have the free will to do harm and kill others, which is why there will always be warfare, militaries, police officers, soldiers, warriors, that will fight in war, because war will always be a thing experienced by sentient intelligent life forms that can have thoughts in their minds, the thoughts of doing harm to others, and actually going out and doing it with their hands, or telekinesis, or whatever the fuck they can use as a weapon. And I hate hippies, world peace nuts, because they don't know that they live in a very vast, infinite cosmos where there is infinite sentient intelligent life forms, and not all those life forms are peaceful. Actually, a lot of sentient intelligent life in the universe, in the multiverse, omniverse, are very evil. Very fucking evil. And predatory. And they don't even kill because they hate people or anything. They do it because they're predators and parasites, and they need to feed off others, whatever's in order to live. A worm, a tapeworm, doesn't do what it does because it hates the people or things it feeds off of. Does it because it needs to do that in order to survive. Not everything in the world that does harm to people does it for hatred purposes. And you need to stop thinking about the world that way if you think this way. You're a demented, delusional person if you think the tapeworm that's in your body, if you are a person that has tapeworm, or will get into a situation where you discover you have a tapeworm because the doctor told you so. That tapeworm doesn't hate you. Don't be demented and delusional, think the tapeworm hates you and that's why it's trying to kill you. It's not trying to kill you because it hates you, it's because you're its food. And it needs to feed off of you in order to survive. It's simple self-preservation and determination 101 with that thing. That's what people need to understand. Not everything that does harm to you has a grudge against you, hates you, has emotions. And not everything in life has to be about emotions in general. Many things in life you wouldn't even think or even feel about. Like brushing your teeth, that don't really make you have an emotion, does it? Reading a book with chemistry, does that make you have an emotion? No. Actually, some people, I think, the reason why they get into science like me is because it's relaxing and that having some cold intellect, some neutral information, every once in a while is a breath of fresh air to the hectic and emotional issues of life. That's what I think. Because it kind of sucks being a slave to your emotions and having your emotions control you the same way a slave master controls their slave. Because it makes you feel like you have less body autonomy. And I think that's the reason why people like science and stuff like that. And get into a hobby because it frees them from being a slave to their emotions. And they just called me a penis. These people just call me penis right now. I don't know what the fuck they're trying to get at right there. Unless they think that men are the only ones that should care about controlling their emotions, and that's kind of stupid. Women need to control their emotions because they wind up doing the horrible shit that men do when they can't control theirs. And you have to control your emotions in order for you to obey laws of society. And not being able to obey laws of society can get you in trouble with society. And you can get in prison for murdering somebody you hate and everything. If you don't control those damn emotions. And I will control my emotions, and I do control my emotions for the sake of self-preservation and determination. And they just told me that I'm a Hebrew. They told me I can't determine myself. That's stupid. A asshole saying that to somebody. It's always something with these people. Always fucking something that they're saying to me about shit. I like these little air pockets in the ocean in Minecraft that I can use them to set up bases in the water. Ooh, the pretty water area right here. This is a very pretty water area in Minecraft. This is a great area to make an aquatic ocean base area. Yeah. More air pockets in here. Other air pockets right here. Pockets again. And they keep telling me that I'm a communist too. I just hate it, these words capitalism and communism nowadays because they can be used to demonize and villainize people, and also because people have different views on them and what they are. And they say in that I think that gender is relative. And that's kind of stupid. Sexual orientation is relative, but gender is not. People have the right to decide who they're going to have sex with. These assholes are talking about destroying somebody's free will. Assholes. They just keep calling me all kinds of names. I wish that these people are doing this to us, my fellow target individuals, would just fucking die. I'm sick and tired of hearing it, all this fucking dumbass bullshit that they say to my face. I'm sick and tired of it. Nobody should try to take somebody's free will away from them. Nobody should try to take somebody's love away from them either. Fucking assholes. Imagine the kind of people that these people are that go into our heads telling us how to think and shit, my fellow target individuals. Imagine the evil that is. Go into somebody's head and tell them how to think and feel about the world, damn it. Damn them. Go inside somebody's head and tell them how to think and feel about the damn world. I wish everybody would just be free and happy in the world. How hard is it to just want people to be free and happy? Everybody should have the right to be free and happy. That's what I say. My back is hurting. And I have a low battery. And it's getting late as well. I'm going to end this video and talk to you later. Take care and have a good night, my friends and viewers of my YouTube channel.